Most people think a baby with an extremely high IQ is easy to recognize. The one who talks first, the one who claps on cue, the one who hits every milestone ahead of schedule and impresses every adult in the room. But what if that belief is completely wrong? What if the babies most likely to develop extraordinary intelligence look nothing like what we expect? The ones who cry too much, sleep too little, and quietly overwhelm every parent who loves them. Not because something is broken, but because something inside them is already running faster than the world around them. Developmental psychologists who study infant cognition say the most common mistake parents make is measuring intelligence through performance. Who babbles earliest, who develops fastest, who seems most impressive in the obvious ways. But the real markers live deeper. They hide in behaviors most parents dismiss, misread, or quietly worry about. And without knowing what to watch for, you will miss every single one. Here are 10 behaviors that silently reveal a baby with an extremely high IQ. Each one is backed by published research in developmental psychology and cognitive neuroscience. Each one is a sign that your baby's brain is doing something genuinely extraordinary. By the end of this video, you will know exactly how many of these 10 your baby is already showing. And once you see them, you will never look at your baby the same way again. Sign number 1. Your baby stares at things for a very long time. Most babies glance at something and move on quickly. But some babies lock onto a shadow on the ceiling, a pattern on the wall, or your face, and hold that gaze for minutes without looking away. You might wave your hand just to check if they are even still responding. Psychologists call this extended visual fixation, and research identifies it as one of the earliest documented markers of high cognitive processing. Their brain is not absent, it is intensely active, analyzing depth, contrast, structure, and pattern, at a level most infant brains simply do not yet attempt. They need to fully understand what they see before they can move on. Sign number 2. Your baby cries intensely, and nobody can explain why. You have probably been told it is colic sensitivity, a difficult temperament. But early childhood neuroscience tells a completely different story. Neurologically advanced infants have a measurably lower sensory threshold than average babies. Their nervous system detects ambient sound, light shifts, and the emotional tension in a room far more acutely. Their brain has not yet built the filters needed to manage that level of input. So every sensation arrives at full intensity. They are not broken. They are extraordinarily sensitive. And that sensitivity is the foundation of emotional intelligence, creative thought, and deep social awareness. Sign number 3. Your baby fights sleep harder than any baby you have ever seen. Most parents assume a baby who resists sleep is simply overtired or uncomfortable. But sleep researchers who study gifted children have discovered something striking. High IQ infants spend significantly more time in REM sleep, the active dreaming phase, than average infants do. Their brains are processing far more information. And this is precisely why they resist falling asleep, wake repeatedly through the night, and appear mentally switched on long past the point of exhaustion. They are not fighting sleep out of stubbornness. Their brain is running processes that most infant brains simply are not running yet. Disturbed sleep in an advanced baby is not a failure. It is evidence of intense and extraordinary mental activity happening beneath the surface. Sign number 4. Your baby is deeply particular about specific people. Most babies warm up to any calm person who holds them gently. But some babies study faces. They respond differently to different people, not based on familiarity but based on something they are reading far beneath the surface. They sense emotional energy and react with striking and consistent accuracy. This is not attachment anxiety. This is early social cognition. Your baby is reading people, picking up on emotional cues, tonal shifts, and behavioral patterns in a way that requires a level of perceptual intelligence most adults never consciously apply. Sign number 5. Your baby gets frustrated far earlier than you would expect. You place a toy in front of them. Brief engagement. Then comes frustration, intense and building fast. Most parents assume the toy is broken or the baby is simply tired, but here's what is actually happening. Your baby's cognitive expectation exceeded the toy's response. Their brain predicted a specific outcome. The toy did not deliver it. The resulting frustration is a direct signal of advanced executive function and early causal reasoning. High IQ infants develop cause and effect understanding earlier and more sharply than their peers. They expect the world to work in precise ways. When it does not, the frustration is not just emotion. It is intelligent feedback from a brain that already knows more than the world is giving it credit for. Sign number 6. Your baby watches you carefully and then does the same thing days later. Most babies imitate in the moment. A smile returned. A sound echoed. But some babies watch with careful focus, absorb what they observe, and reproduce it days later in exactly the right context with unusual precision. Psychologists call this deferred imitation, a behavior requiring working memory, temporal awareness, and intentional recall. It is a powerful early marker of high-functioning cognitive architecture. They are not just watching you, they are taking careful notes before they even have words. Stop here for a moment. Look at what we have described so far. Excessive crying, disrupted sleep, emotional hypersensitivity, intense early frustration, selective and particular social bonding. These are the behaviors that fill parenting forums with worry every single day. These are the behaviors that earn labels: difficult, high needs, anxious, hard to manage. These are the traits most parents quietly blame themselves for. But here's the question that changes everything. What if the label was always wrong? What if difficult was simply another word for deeper? Sign number 7. Your baby becomes obsessed with the same object or pattern repeatedly. Most babies enjoy novelty, new colors, new sounds, new faces. But some babies become intensely absorbed in the same book, the same sequence, the same object examined over and over. Parents worry, but in many high IQ infants, this repetition reflects a specific and sophisticated process. The brain is building internal models of how things work. The repetition is not meaningless. It is systematic hypothesis testing conducted by a brain that needs certainty before it can move forward. This is the beginning of analytical thinking, and it almost always looks like something to be corrected. Sign number 8. Your baby reacts to emotional tension in the room before anyone speaks. You do not need to argue in front of a high IQ baby. You do not even need to speak. The tension in your posture is enough. The flatness in your voice is enough. The micro-expression you did not even realize you made is enough. Research shows cognitively advanced babies display measurable stress responses to adult emotional tension far earlier and far more intensely than their peers. They are not oversensitive. They are precisely and extraordinarily calibrated. Sign number 9. Your baby deliberately experiments with cause and effect. Most babies stumble into cause and effect accidentally. But some babies notice that their cry brings you to them. They notice that their reach changes what surrounds them. And they begin deliberately and methodically to experiment with this understanding. Psychologists call this the early theory of agency, the recognition that one's own actions produce outcomes. It is the cognitive seed from which self-directed learning, independence, and abstract reasoning eventually grow. When you see your baby experimenting intentionally, you are watching the architecture of a powerful mind beginning to quietly form. Sign number 10. Your baby goes silent in a way that feels different from rest. Most babies in a quiet moment simply rest, face soft, body still, briefly at ease. But some babies go silent in an entirely different way. Their eyes move slowly, their expression shifts. Something is being processed, sorted, connected. The silence has texture and depth, it has weight. Parents who have noticed this often describe it the same way. It is like they are thinking about something I cannot see. They are look closer. Before you start counting on your fingers and scoring your baby against every sign on this list, stop. Because that is not what this research is asking you to do. Your baby does not need to show all 10 of these behaviors to have an extraordinarily developing brain. Every baby grows along their own timeline and in their own sequence. Even 2 or 3 of these signs appearing in your baby is genuinely remarkable. You are not behind. You are not failing. You are paying attention. And paying attention is exactly what your baby's developing mind needs most from you. But there is something important worth knowing. If your baby is approaching 9 months and is showing none of these behaviors, not the visual fixation, not the social referencing, not the imitation, not the preferential attachment, that pattern deserves a conversation with your pediatrician, not as a reason to panic, not as a verdict on your baby's future, simply as information. Because early attention to development produces outcomes that waiting simply cannot replicate. Trust what you are noticing. Your instincts exist for a reason. Intelligence in its earliest form does not announce itself. It does not perform on schedule or impress on demand. It cries too much. It sleeps too little. It stares at things no one else seems to notice. It feels everything more deeply than the world around it expects. It hides in exactly the places we are most likely to call problems. The next time you see your baby overwhelmed, intense, and difficult to soothe, look more carefully, because what you might be looking at is not a problem in need of fixing. It is a mind quietly in the process of becoming something extraordinary, and what it needs above all else is not correction. It is simple to understand. Drop a comment below and tell me, how many of these 10 is your baby already showing? I genuinely want to know. And if you want to understand why your newborn stares at empty corners at 3 in the morning at something only they can see, and what their brain is actually doing in those strange quiet moments, that is the next video.